all the snow to melt and for winter to just be over completely. So it all just depends. It all just depends. But I'm so happy because I just told y'all your girl struggles with being cold all the time. And my job just recently got a new hot beverage machine in our break room. And what is so great about that is that we used to have one, but of course you had to pay for the beverages, you had to pay for the coffee and things like that. They only had coffee and hot chocolate, and you had to pay for the coffee and the hot chocolate. You had to pay for the coffee and the hot chocolate. Well, we just recently got a new hot beverage machine, and it has so many different options. So you've got, of course, you've got your coffee, you've got hot chocolate. They added cappuccinos to the list. They added a mocha frappe and a mochaccino. Excuse my throat, and just a bunch of other hot beverages. It's a very extensive list, especially compared to what it was before. And the exciting part of it is that it's all free. It's all free. I was like, what? Now, the sad part about that is we just recently got a raise. I just recently, my company, we just got raises. And we were supposed to get a bigger raise than what we did, but the company took a lot of that raise and put it towards the budget for getting the free machine in the break room because people were complaining about the upcoming winter and how it's always freezing in my job. Always freezing. I feel like they don't run the heat at all. It's when you walk from outside in a winter snowstorm into my job, there's almost no difference in temperature. It is Arctic in there. Arctic in there. It's bad. So people were complaining about, like, you guys don't run the heat in here and you freeze us our entire shift, and then to top it off, you don't even give us any, how do I phrase it? You don't give us any rewards, basically, for lack of a better phrasing, for us suffering in here. Like, we have to pay out the ass. Like, so it was, our old machine was so expensive. Like, we have to pay so much money just for a cup of coffee or hot chocolate to get warm in here, when we shouldn't have to try to get warm, because it should be cozy and comfortable in our workspace. So they said, okay, we hear you, we're listening, and we're gonna cut your raise in half. And place a free hot beverage machine in the break room. So it was kind of like a win-lose. Like, on one hand, yes, we got so many free hot beverages, and it's great because I take advantage of it. I always, on my way out the door, we've only had the new machine for a couple of weeks, but on my way out the door, since it is getting colder and colder outside, I stop by the break room and go to the machine, and I'll get myself either some hot chocolate or like a cappuccino or something, which honestly I don't know the difference between like a cappuccino and just plain coffee. And like, is on my way out the door into the cold. I've got this hot, big, steaming cup of whatever beverage I'm drinking, and it'll keep me warm until the car warms up. Right? But it's a lose because when we found out the raise we were originally supposed to get before they cut it for this new machine, I was so upset. Like, I could have been making X amount of dollars an hour. I have to adjust my legs, okay? But like, depending on the day that you ask me, sometimes I'm happy that we got the hot beverage machine, and sometimes I would have preferred my complete raise. It just depends on the day, bestie. So, but I am grateful. I don't want to be ungrateful for the fact that they listened to our complaints and concerns. Not enough to turn the heat up, okay, but enough to help us keep warm during the shift, and do so free. And you know, they came up with a solution, so I guess I should just be happy and grateful for that, which I am. I am. Speaking of work, a guy from my high school got hired in the HR department, on-site HR department. And high school was like a decade ago, or over a decade, for a decade. So, anywho, it's been a very long time since I have seen this guy, right? And he transferred like the beginning of junior year to a different high school, so he didn't even graduate with us. And the funny thing is that when he was there at the school, I had just a tiny little bit of a crush on him, not a big major one, because there was a guy that I was like head over heels in love with. I've already talked about that, like told that story time on my Patreon, but I didn't feel this way about the guy that got hired at HR. Anyway, but I did think he was so cute, and he's always had such a very calming, sweet demeanor to him, and I like that. So, I remember his name, right? But I didn't think that he would remember mine because we never interacted that much. Like, it was always very superficial, very surface level. It wasn't like we were friends or anything. And so, anywho, I had to go to HR for something, and lo and behold, it's his shift. And so he doesn't acknowledge like, oh, we went to school together or anything. He's very professional. I go up, and typically what happens is you go to HR and you tell them like what the issue is, and then they have to pull you up in the system towards the end of the interaction to log it. Like, they talk to you on this day about this thing, and like, you know, just to keep a note of it. So they typically ask for your badge info. And so I'm talking to him, and then we get to the point where he's like, okay. Well, we get to the point where typically in the conversation, HR would ask for your badge to go into the system, to go into your account, and all these things. And so he's typing away, but he doesn't ask me for my badge info. And so I'm like, you know, I'm sitting there silently for a while, just waiting for him to get to the point to ask like my name and all that extra stuff, and he never does. So I was like, my name is Raychel, and he was like, I know. And so I'm like, okay, maybe he just remembers my first name. Raychel is super common, super easy. Like, of course he would remember that. But there's like another lull of silence, and he's not saying anything, and I'm not saying anything, and I was like, I almost just said my last name on here. Oh my god. And I was like, Raychel blank, you know, told him my last name. And he was like, he just looks up and he kind of smirks, like does his little know that guys do sometimes. And he's like, I know. I almost passed out. Because I'm like, this guy that I never really thought that he noticed me aside from the minor interactions we would have, and I definitely didn't think that he knew my entire name. But obviously he noticed me enough back then to know not only my first and last name by memory, but also, like, you know, he knows my face. Like, he can look at me and he's like, oh, that's such and such. I don't know, like, it just kind of threw me for a loop, because sometimes I come across people that I knew all 4 years in high school. Like, they didn't transfer like he did early, right? Or like halfway through, rather. But we went all 4 years together, and I'm like, what's their name? Like, their face is familiar, and I know them, but either I don't remember their name or I just don't remember them, and I'm like, I know you from somewhere, but I can't place it. And it was high school, so the fact that he remembered me, I don't know. It had your girl blushing a little bit, like, okay, I'm memorable or whatever. That's cute. So, I don't know, that was just something cute that happened. Something cute that happened. Oh, my legs. Hold on, you guys. Okay. Anywho. Have you guys seen all the commotion that is surrounding this new ColourPop Twilight collab? So as the girlies know, I've recently been getting more into makeup. And Twilight has always been one of the biggest loves of my life. So my algorithm on any platform, YouTube, TikTok, Google, they know if it's Twilight related. Throw it at me, baby, won't you come my way? They know to throw it at me. So I see all the Twilight stuff without even having to search for it. That's how I knew about that Twilight. It was the Twilight Effect podcast that Ashley Green, who played Alice Cullen, had before all the episodes went missing. Like, now they only have the last like 4 or 5 episodes up, when there was like 20 plus. I don't know if she ran into some kind of legal issue and therefore she had to take down most of the episodes. But luckily, when literally from the very first episode, my YouTube algorithm was like, you're a Twilight whore, here's a podcast about it. And so I was there for every podcast episode release drop. Oh, it was so exciting. And they had it on YouTube so that you could like watch them while they were talking, which y'all know is important to me. And so anyway, I'm so upset that they took down the majority of the episodes, and I told you guys about it over the summer, and y'all were like, the episodes are gone. Like, what the fuck? Like, how are we supposed to, like, why didn't you let me know sooner? I'm sorry, besties. I'm sorry. But I'm so happy that, like, because of my addiction to Twilight, the algorithm put me on early before the episodes got deleted. So anyway, I was on TikTok, and just out of the blue, one of the first videos that pops up is this ColourPop, which is a makeup brand. They're doing a makeup collab with Twilight. And so I'm like, this is right up my alley because it's Twilight, and I want to be a girl's girl. I'm trying to be like the girlies and like learn how to do my makeup and stuff. So I'm so excited about it, right? I will say that was before we got all the images and such from what the collection is gonna look like. So I'll say that I'm very excited about the lip oils. They're like a shimmery, glittery, opaque kind of lip oil. recently made purchases that were complete and utter fails because I don't know what I'm doing, and I've learned from that very quickly that due to being a person of color, due to being a black woman with a deep brown skin tone, not everything is gonna look good on me. And like I knew that, but I didn't know that until I started buying makeup and like lipsticks and lip glosses and things like that that are really pigmented. And so I'll get something that is advertised on a non-person of color online and it looks gorgeous and I'm like, that's a lovely shade, and then when it gets delivered to me and I try it on, I look like a fucking clown. Not kidding. Like, it's super chalky and ashy on my skin tone because of my, my coloring. And so having had those experiences recently and learning what all my fellow people of color have, the gripes that they've had with makeup for years and years and years now, it was very disappointing for me to see the Twilight eyeshadow palette release, because while I love it for the purposes of it matching the blue filter of the movie and all of that, I hate it because I already know without even purchasing it, due to my previous experiences recently, that there's not a single color in that palette that would look good on my skin tone. Not a single color, because it's super light blues and shimmery and shimmers and tans and really light greens, and I just know that it's either not gonna show up on my skin tone at all, or if it does show up, I'll see if I can find a picture to like represent what I would possibly be looking like with those tones. And so I have noticed off rip, looking at it, I knew like that palette is not for people of color. It's just not, in terms of like, I don't mean they can't use it or purchase it or anything like that. I mean, it's going to be hard to make it look good on us, or to make a look out of it. And I've noticed in the comments, a lot of people of color saying the exact same thing. So I'm like, oh, it's like validating my own opinion. I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. That's just not for the dark skinned girlies, and it's so disappointing because Twilight is such, even though, if you want to be fair, like, I'm not tone deaf, even though Twilight is my heart and soul, I can recognize that it's not very inclusive. There's like 2 black people in the entire film, literally, like Laurent and what's his name, Tyler, that almost runs over Bella. Like, quite literally, there's like 2 people in the entire film. It's not very inclusive. It's just not. And so, trying to take all of the like political standpoints and viewpoints and stuff out of it for entertainment purposes, for what it makes us feel, like, this is no hate, there's no shade. If you know me, like, I love Twilight. I love it. It means so much to me. But I'm just saying that it's so disappointing that the makeup palette turned out the way that it is. But it's very on brand in general for Twilight, because it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we weren't very represented anyways. And then every time you say that, people are like, well, Jacob and his tribe, let's not, because there's an entire controversy